Matthew 6, verse 24. Jesus said, "No one can serve two masters. Either you hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." This is an interesting one. In one translation, Jesus says you cannot serve both God and mammon, which is a really weird word. Sounds like mammal, but it isn't. What is mammon? What on earth is it? The way I see it, mammon is the material and money system of the world. And I can be a real sucker for it, truly. I love getting the latest gadget and then suddenly realizing it hasn't got enough battery power, it hasn't got enough space, so I need to wait for the next one to come along, or a better camera, the latest fancy thing. And that in itself isn't necessarily wrong, but what is wrong is becoming a slave to it, to that system, because the world traps us in it. They call it built-in obsolescence. Fancy term for basically you get a really nice piece of kit and suddenly you realize 6 months later it's out of date. You need to get the next lovely fancy piece of kit, and then the next, and then the next. And fortunately I have a wife who keeps me honest on things like this. Do you really need that thing? When you find yourself serving the system, it can take over your life and God can get pushed to the outer margins. This is what Jesus is talking about. Some people spend their whole lives pursuing wealth, money itself, finding ways to cheat the tax man, to send money off to offshore accounts so that they don't have to pay tax. They find ways to keep as much money for themselves as they can, and the richer they become, the easier it is for them to do this, which is why so many billionaires don't get taxed very much. So that they can buy the biggest, the best, the fanciest, I don't know, whatever it is. A friend of mine went on holiday to Turkey. He was having a lovely time, and he and his family one day went on a boat cruise, as you do. And as they sailed back into the harbour in the evening, they saw an enormous yacht moored on the pier. It was truly huge, triple-decker, beautiful lines, whatever they are, a crew of about 5 dedicated people. He was so impressed, he thought, amazing. Next to the yacht was an empty space for another boat, into which then sailed another yacht, and that one moored next to the first yacht. Now, if you thought the first yacht was amazing, this second yacht had 7 decks, a helicopter pad, a swimming pool, a crew of 30 or so people. It was crawling with riches and wealth. You get the point. At some point, the owner of the first yacht would probably have looked at the second yacht and thought, I need to get me one of those. You could use this example about all sorts of things. You could use it about the wages you earn. Oh, if only I got that extra 10 grand, then I could get this or that, or bigger mortgage or whatever, bigger house. The point is you can't serve both God and the money and material systems of this world. One or the other eventually has to give way. And one day, the owner of those yachts will die. What then?